Media, you are okay with standing. So maybe the other stakeholders, Jeremy. Sergeant at arms. We proceed. Petitioners. Very quickly.
Thank you, Chair. So good morning, Chair, Senators, CS, and the rest of the participants. Good morning. I'm Kimtai Kirui, the lead petitioner.
You are alone today?
Yeah, I have a team. Let them introduce themselves.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Viola Makan. I'm a victim.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everyone. Kelvin Koech. I'm the leader of the victims who are owned by First Choice Recruitment and Consultancy Agency. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair and Honorable Senators. I am Kenneth Kimtai, a victim.
Good morning, Chair and Honorable Members. I am Kipsang Belio, victim First Choice.
Good morning, Chair, Honorable Members. I'm Kiprotich Sebastian, victim.
Good morning, Chair, Honorable Members. My name is James Kipchirchir. I'm a victim First Choice.
Good morning, members. Elias Kipto, I'm a victim.
Good morning, Chair. Violet Chiruto, victim First Choice.
Thank you. We have the Commission on Administrative of Justice. Are they here? Okay, thank you. Kindly introduce yourself.
Good morning, Chair and members. My name is Florence Mumbi, the Director in charge of Complaints, Investigations and Legal Services. Thank you. I'm accompanied by one staff member. Maybe you can introduce himself.
Good morning, Chair and members. My name is Justice Manyasa, Senior Administrative Officer.
So, honorable members, before we start, the management of First Choice Recruitment and Consultancy Agency have failed to come. The last time we had a meeting, they didn't come. So before we rule on this matter, I would want to hear comments from the members on how you think we should proceed. Yes, Senator Grudia, please come on record.
Thank you, Chair. As a committee, I think we need to issue a warrant of arrest based on our standing orders. I know that there are many warrants of arrest out there, but we need to officially issue it from our committee.
Thank you. Yes, Senator Mudigi.
Asante, Chairperson. Yangu ni kusema tumeng'ang'ana kwa hii maneno kwa miaka 2 na kila department, hata wasiri wa zamani walipa amekuja hapa, NG amekuja, kila department yote inahusikana hii maneno imekuwa ikikuja, na tumeng'ang'ana kama labor committee kusaidia mwananchi, na sisi mwananchi ndiye ametupatia kura kutoka masinani, na pia tunang'ang'ania juu ya devolution tukiwa masenators. Mimi ningeomba leo, tulikuwa na fikiria wale directors watakuwa hapa na mambo ya ajabu waje kuja, na tumeona wasiri walipa na department zote ziko hapa siku ya leo wamekuja, lakini ule ambaye ameenda na hela za wale watu wako masinani aje kuja. Ningeomba leo tuweze kuona tutafanya namna gani ndio huyu mama aweze kushikwa na kupelekwa kotini, na pia barua ile itatoka awe amefainiwa shilingi 1500. Kwa sababu tumejaribu Chairperson, tumejaribu njia zote kwa kipindi ya miaka 2, mboma nyingi watu wamekosana, watoto waendi shule, na pia hata wazee ama vijana wasichana wamekosana juu ya hii maneno. Sasa ningetaka Chairperson ya hii kamati huyu mama ama hawa directors hawana respect na watu wa Kenya, tuweze kuona vile tutasaidia watu, na pia itakuwa ni funzo kwa wale watu wengine wenye biashara kwa hii kazi ya watu kwenda nje. Asante Bwana Chairperson.
Yes, Senator Mudigi. Senator Faki, then we come to Senator Cheregai.
No, Chair, I'll go by my colleagues, what they have said. I fully support their positions. Thank you.
Chair, I think since the beginning of this inquiry, the directors of First Choice have shown contempt before this committee on various occasions. Chair, when you look under Article 125 of the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya, the Parliament committees has power to compel attendance of witnesses. So I agree with my colleagues, even when you look at powers and privileges, I think Section 20 is very clear that when the last time the directors of First Choice was to come was through summonses. Now that they have decided to appear, I agree with my colleagues that at the end of this meeting, you issue warrant of arrest through the clerk of the Senate and to the Inspector General of Police to be arrested, and possibility of Director of Public Prosecutions to commence proceedings. Another issue, Chair, and the legal team can explore this, is to surcharge directors of First Choice to reimburse the transport and other costs that have been incurred by the victims of First Choice by attending. You remember they came last time, they are now here, they are using their own money and resources to be here. So in my own proposal is that we ensure, Chair, I don't know what the law says, we ensure that the directors of First Choice be surcharged to reimburse the victims of First Choice their transport expenses, because myself and Senator Faki knows very well that when a witness comes before a court of law and the person who is supposed to appear, they are normally reimbursed their transport and other costs. Though I think in your ruling you must direct that they must be surcharged, the directors of First Choice, Chair, and finally is we should make in our findings, and I'm happy that the CS of Labour is here, that the two directors of First Choice be blacklisted from ever registering with NEA, whatever they name, even if they want to call themselves Jesus Recruitment Company Limited, they should be blacklisted because NEA has the ID number and their names. So that is my proposal, so that they cannot go and mutate to other animal. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Senators. On that matter, the ruling of the chair of the committee is that we issue through the office of clerk the warrant of arrest of the directors of First Choice, and also write to the ODPP to institute criminal proceedings for failure to honor the summons. So we dispense off with this matter and then we proceed. So Waziri and your team, we are here following the implementations of the report which was tabled in the Senate on 17th October 2023, and there were various resolutions which were made, and I'm going to read through so that all the agencies which are here can respond on their matter. On the first one, the first recommendation was that the board of the National Employment Authority be disbanded and reconstituted upon tabling of this report. The other one was that the Asset Recovery Agency repossesses the properties owned by First Choice Recruitment and Consultancy Agency Limited, Mrs. Judy Chipchirchil and Ms. Faith Wariga Gishohi, in the event that they do not refund all the monies owed to the petitioners and use the funds to refund the petitioners. That the bank accounts of the First Choice Recruitment and Consultancy Agency Limited, Mrs. Judy Chipchirchil and Faith Wariga Gishohi, be frozen by the relevant authorities until the monies owed to the victims are fully recovered. The other one was the passports of the directors of First Choice Recruitment and Consultancy Agency Limited be withheld by the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, that the Ministry of Labour and Social Protection and the National Employment Authority to issue a public notice in at least 2 local dailies with nationwide circulation directing First Choice Recruitment and Consultancy Agency Limited to cease its recruitment operations with immediate effect, that First Choice Recruitment and Consultancy Agency Limited and its other closely related and associated agencies cease further operations, recruitment, and placement for a period of not less than 5 years and should be closely monitored by the DCI. That the Ministry of Labour and Social Protection to cease any further operations, recruitment, placement by similar recruitment agencies that the public has raised concerns about upon tabling of the report. That the Ministry of Labour and Social Protection to audit and publicize legitimate recruitment agencies in the country in at least 2 local dailies with nationwide circulation within 1 month of tabling of this report and annually thereafter. That the Ministry of Labour and Social Protection to publicize the list of blacklisted recruitment agencies in the country in at least two local dailies with nationwide circulation within 1 month of tabling of this report and annually thereafter. That Mrs. Judy Chipchirchir and Ms. Faith Warigia Gishohi and other directors of First Choice Recruitment and Consultancy Agency be barred from registering or operating or managing any other recruitment agency or company upon tabling of this report. That First Choice Recruitment and Consultancy Agency Limited refund all the petitioners through bankers' checks within 1 month of tabling of this report, and the Ministry of Labour and Social Protection and the National Employment Authority to strongly enforce the existing measures and ensure agencies adhere to the laid down regulations. The Commission on Administration of Justice and Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission investigate the involvement of political leaders and business people and the conduct of state and public officers with regard to First Choice Recruitment and Consultancy Agency Limited and report to the Senate within 3 months upon tabling of this report. That the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions and the Office of the Inspector General finalize the investigations on the possible irregularities by First Choice Recruitment and Consultancy Agency Limited and institute criminal proceedings against First Choice Recruitment and Consultancy Agency and others found culpable and report to the Senate within 3 months of tabling of this report. And the Commission of Administrative Justice to investigate the law enforcement agencies in Uasin Gishu County who allegedly harassed the petitioners and report to the Senate within 3 months of tabling the report. And that the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution finalizes the cases of alleged harassment of the petitioners and terminate the cases whose objective was to intimidate petitioners. So Waziri and all the other agencies who are here, thank you for coming, and I now give you this opportunity to respond on what you've done based on this recommendation by the Senate.
Chair, just a point of housekeeping. I thought in your invitation, the Office of Director of Public Prosecution was not there last time, and you were directed that they attend this meeting, because while the ministry might have done their bit, there was the aspect of prosecution, and you remember the last time DCI had said they had already forwarded the file. So we wanted to know whether if DPP was here, because you remember DCI had recommended some charges, but we wanted the DPP to be here to confirm on the issue of the file that had been forwarded by DCI. So is it good so that we proceed better?
Yes, Senator, that is indeed true. This committee had ruled that the DPP should be here personally. He requested that he send his deputy, and we declined, and we resolved to invite him on Monday, 7th at 2 p.m., so to come personally to the committee. So, Waziri, you can proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. First of all, is to say that it is tragic for a country to be sitting to discuss the fate of many young people who have been conned by rogue people who have taken advantage of their poverty, taken advantage of their need to get employment. And I want to congratulate the Senate for taking this strongly. Since I got into the ministry, I have started undertaking reforms that are meant to streamline the industry, to ensure that things are done properly and timely, to avoid all these shenanigans and all these conning behaviors that are there. We want a fair, predictable system for both the employment agencies and also for those seeking employment. And I think it's not in my position, but I think I also want to concur and say that I agree with the stand and the ruling by the chair that Senate needs to be respected. If ministers are summoned and they come, who is not summoned and they are not coming? You know, your Madarau, if it can be shown to the Senate, you can imagine what it is shown to the victims of this. So, you know, if a whole Senate is not respected, I think I'll urge the relevant authorities to make sure that those people are rounded up, not tomorrow but today, because you can't joke with people's lives. Having said that, I'd like to go straight into answering some of the issues that came up. You have the answers in front of you. I can read them word by word, but that will take forever. But I can summarize for the sake of expediency, knowing that we started a bit late, to make it easier. The first thing is to talk about the Board of the National Employment Authority. You say that needs to be disbanded and reconstituted about the tabling of the report. I have looked at the jobs that are done by the board. The board is comprised of basically state departments. It is this state department, that state department. So disbanding the board means that you bring back the same people because it is representatives of the different ministries. But the board just gives an oversight of the day-to-day running. But the team that is instrumental in ensuring that things are done properly and that people are vetted is called the Interministerial Voting Committee. And this is separate with a different act of parliament than the board. The board is just set up to manage, so because it's a parastatal, it needs a board to manage employment of the officers of the board, approval of the budget. But the one that deals with the issue we are dealing with today is the Interministerial Vetting Committee. And the Interministerial Vetting Committee is established under Section 54A of the Labour Institutions Act 2007. So it's separate from the board. The law requires that every employment bureau or agency to seek and obtain government approval prior to sending Kenyan citizens for employment outside Kenya and for employment of foreigners within Kenya. The committee is responsible for advising the Cabinet Secretary, responsible for labor, on matters relating to vetting the application for registration made by employment bureaus and agencies. The committee, with representation from key government agencies, vets all the private employment agencies in the country prior to their registration. The Ministry of Labour and Social Protection chairs the committee, and it comprises officers from the following bodies: the Ministry responsible for Labour, Immigration, Internal Security, that means Interior, DCI, NIS, Kenya Police, Foreign Affairs, and Office of the Attorney General. The Board of the National Employment Authority has continued to guide the authority and provide policy direction on issues relating to license and regulation of the operations of private employment agencies. Considerable progress has been made in promoting ethical recruitment, and in addition, an elaborate licensing and monitoring mechanism has been established to root out unscrupulous recruitment agencies. And this is important. The number of private employment agencies has declined from 1,000 to 554, basically by weeding out and making it difficult for the bad ones to continue operating. The Ministry of Labour and Social Protection requests the Senate to reconsider its recommendation to disband and reconstitute the Board of the National Employment Authority. I think what the Senate did in its wisdom, and I see where you're coming from, was see there was a problem that was not being tackled. But this problem, we have to say, starts from the top. And I want to give my commitment to this House and to the Senate that from where I sit, I'll ensure that things are done speedily and properly. For a long time, we did not have a substantive director general. Now we do. We are reorganizing. We didn't have a compliance team that went around. Now we do. I have put in measures to ensure that the systems go very well, because the Minister for Labour is the one who oversees this group. So the board is not involved in the day-to-day running or vetting. So removing the board would just be punishing people who are not involved. So I submit on that one, Mr. Chair. The second recommendation was that the Ministry of Labour and Social Protection authority to issue a public notice in at least 2 dailies with national circulation, directing First Choice Recruitment and Consultancy Agency Limited to cease its recruitment operations with immediate effect. Mr. Chair, I'd like to tell this House that we have done as instructed, and in today's dailies, I have a caution to the members of the public, and I will read. Our attention has been drawn to concerns raised by job seekers and members of the public concerning the registration status and recruitment activities by First Choice Recruitment and Consultancy Limited. We wish to inform the general public and job seekers that First Choice Recruitment and Consultancy Limited is not registered by the National Employment Authority as an employment agency and is therefore not authorized to undertake any recruitment activities for local or foreign markets. Members of the public are further cautioned to do due diligence before they engage with any recruitment agency, and there we've provided a link to the NEA website that shows who are there, and this was published today and under my hand, Mr. Chairman.
Waziri, I don't want to interrupt, and thank you for that. But I would, while we are on that, I would just want to hear from you. Since the report was tabled, it has taken more than 1 year for your ministry to do that. Within that 1 year, so many other peoples have been conned by this particular agency. Had your ministry acted then, you would have saved the people of Rift Valley a lot. Just tell this committee why it took more than a year to comply with that resolution.
It is quite unfortunate, Mr. Chairman, and I'd like to go on record here, first of all, to give my apology to the victims of this agency and other agencies for what you've gone through. People have suffered tremendously. People have committed suicide. As the good senator from Embu said, it has even broken up families and people have gone astray. So I want to give my sincere apologies from where I sit that this has gone on for so long and that it looks like people have been treated in a way that they are untouchable. But I cannot speak as to why and the bureaucracy that was there. What I can speak of is about what I have done. And Mr. Chairman, it's been about a month since I've been appointed to this office, and I have moved with the chap speed to ensure that we correct some of these matters. And that is why I have undertaken the measures I've undertaken.
Okay,
the reform
well
that I'm
guided. You
undertaking,
can proceed now.
reform. The next one is that I'd like to also be very clear that this agency is blacklisted, and I'll mention that down the line. Committee recommended also that the First Choice Recruitment Consultancy Agency Limited to cease any further operations, recruitment and placement for a period of not less than 5 years, and should be closely monitored by DCI. The Ministry of Labour and Social Protection has not allowed First Choice Recruitment and Consultancy Agency Limited to continue its operations.
Senator, just hold on, Waziri.
Just Waziri, as a matter of procedure, Chair, you know, under our rules, we don't admit newspaper cuttings. Would it be in order for Waziri to table the actual notice of caution to public so that we become ordered? Because, you know, we rarely admit cuttings of newspapers. Yes. Maybe you can guide.
The response by the...
Yeah, but I just wanted him to go on record so that it does not appear that he tabled the newspaper cuttings.
Yes.
I'm well guided. I'd like to confirm for the records of the House that we have also tabled the actual notice, signed notice, and it is in my bundle that has been given to this committee. The Ministry of Labour and Social Protection has not allowed First Choice Recruitment and Consultancy Agency Limited to continue its operations. The registration certificate expired on 18th of February 2023. The recruitment agency is among the blacklisted agencies and therefore not allowed to operate. The certificate has not been renewed and shall not be renewed whatsoever, shall not be renewed whatsoever. It's also good to point out, based on the question that was asked by you, Mr. Chairman, that if this organization has been operating since the loss of their license in 2023, then they have been operating illegally, and therefore they need to be taken to task for that. There was another recommendation that the Ministry of Labour and Social Protection to cease any further operations, recruitment, placement by similar recruitment agencies that the public has raised concern upon tabling of this report. Chairman, honourable members, this is tied in also to the point that we publicize the list of blacklisted recruitment agencies in the country in at least 2 local dailies with nationwide recruitment. I'd like to respond to the first one and say that Ms. Judy Jepchirchir and Ms. Faith Wariga Gishui and other directors of First Choice Recruitment and Consulting Agency are barred from registering, operating, or managing any other recruitment agency or company upon the tabling of this report. And I'd like to say that that has been done and they are barred and they'll not be able to register any other recruitment agency. Together with other government agencies, we have identified 25 recruitment agencies that have raised public concern. A total number of 25 agencies have been registered or denied registration due to various reasons. And these ones are also published in today's newspaper, and it is in your bundle, but just for the record, it is right here. And for the sake of transparency, I'd like to read the names. The following are the companies that have been deregistered and barred and denied registration due to various reasons. Gulfway Recruitment Company Limited, Royal Capital Placement Limited, 3, Jovera Agency Limited, 4, Jovera Africa Safaris Limited, 5, First Choice Recruitment and Consultants Limited, 6, Dawo Holding Limited, 7, Makungu International Limited, 8, Talent Gateway Limited, 9, Royal Capital Placement Limited, 10, Jakarta Ventures Limited, 11, Skills Dove Limited, 12, Gifted Minds Tours Travel Limited, 13, Tango Fox Limited, 14, Alem Tayaz Travel Agent Limited, 15, Rodevo International Limited, 16, Flex Touch Recruitment Limited, 17, Omran Ali Agencies Limited, 18, Alsari International Limited, 19, Leisamis Recruiters Limited, 20, Skyward Global Dimensions Limited, 21, Moasalat Manpower Limited, 22, Man and Swa Recruitment Palace, 23, Calezone Limited, 24, Abamwe Investments Limited, and finally 25, Mastermind Ventures Limited. I also want to add...
Just a minute, Waziri. Mr. Kirui, the last time you appeared here, you indicated that Judy is operating 2 other agencies. Are those 2 agencies among the ones which Waziri has just read?
Yeah, thanks so much, Mr. Chair. Yeah, there is this Royal Capital Placement.
Which one, number?
Number 2, and also number 9.
Okay.
And there are other. We have Ajira Kenya also. She has another agency called Ajira Kenya. She's running it. She has about 6 other companies. Ametumia process to register. So we have Ajira. Nafikiri juzi police walifanya chuchini walikamata, but she ran away, wakapeleka watu wake wawili kotini.
So, Mr. Kirui, what you are saying, and Waziri is here, and the director of NEA is here, is that recruitment is still going on in Eldoret.
In fact,
through process by the same person.
Same person. In fact, member of parliament.
Director, at least that one was for the director, because at least I know these members will be asking you questions whether you are aware of that. Okay. Okay. Can we pause there? Let Waziri proceed. Let Waziri proceed.
On the same point, that. When people register as proxies,
yes, Senator.
What I can comment, is it possible for you to mention other company agencies that now she is operating, so Wasiri can hear about it? if they are not here.
Senator, he has already mentioned them. Yeah. Okay. Waziri, proceed.
I just wanted to point out that when there are many Kenyans, if somebody comes and registers a company, it's going to be very difficult for us to know whether they're associated with that person. And so we cannot go denying people registration unless we have proof that they are being used by this person. And in the same way, even though they are proxies, there has to be a link, and that is why that the investigative agencies need to continue. But I think the solution to this thing is that the people who are doing this need to be in jail. Because if you are eating maragwe and rice in jail, you don't have time to find proxies and some of these things. So I think we need to move towards
Waziri, there is no rice in jail. I have been jailed before. I didn't see it.
Waziri, proceed.
I'd like to point out as I look at the next question that on this matter, I had a conversation this morning with the Director of Criminal Investigation and also had a conversation with the Director of Public Prosecution, who is currently out of the country. And the Director of Criminal Investigation has told me he has two files, has a file on 2 charges with the DPP, and the DPP had also requested for some more information to the police, which I believe has been given. So I think by Monday, you should be able to get a full answer from the DPP on when they'll move in terms of prosecution and all these things. So
okay, Waziri, on the names you've mentioned, and you have them, and I know the director is sitting next to you. What is the difference between number 2 and number 9? The same. The mistake is.
Chair.
sorry, I think it is a typo. It's a repeat, so it's good that you pointed it out.
We are requesting you allow him to finish because we have questions from the first.
Okay.
So that we can also ask all the questions. Because we have questions from the first.
Okay.
So that we can also ask all the questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we ask once.
Mr. Chairman, the next question was about, or the recommendation was that the Ministry of Labour and Social Protection to audit and publicize the legitimate recruitment agencies in the country in at least 2 local dailies with national circulation within 1 month of tabling of this report and annually thereafter. The list of all registered employment agencies available to the public on the National Employment Authority Information System. The list is updated on a daily basis. The Ministry of Labour and Social Protection and NEA has continued to create awareness and encourage job seekers and members of the public to check the registration status of any recruitment agency they wish to engage. In compliance with the committee recommendation that publicize legitimate recruitment agencies in the country in at least 2 daily annually, an advert was placed on the local dailies on the 2nd of October 2024. Mr. Chairman and members, the list changes daily because there are others whose terms expire on a daily basis, who don't get renewed and they get dropped. So the best source, and I want to encourage any young person who is met by somebody who says, I want to find a job for you, have a recruitment agency. Not to just take them at face value or to be shown an old newspaper clip, but to go to what is alive, and that is the website, nea.go.ke, nea.go.ke, because that one, if somebody has been registered today after vetting, it is shown immediately. But if you look at just a newspaper, that's 2-3 months ago or a month ago, it may change. And other people have been brought in. So I really request that if you're looking for work, also do some form of due diligence so you can look at this. Number 2, Mr. Chairman, I'm working on a system whereby may come to a time when we may require that no employment agency charges anyone for getting them a job. And that the money that the employment agencies make should be coming from the company that has hired them to hire. So that now, for example, if a company, let's say in France, needs nurses, that company in France is going to pay the agent money to get them nurses. That company should use those monies to do the recruitment, to buy the ticket and everything, and whatever remains becomes their profit. But because they want to maximize on everything, and because people are poor and people are looking for jobs and desperate, they start charging and start selling. Basically, it's basically selling jobs to other people. So we'll come to a point at a time, we'll look at the regulations to tell people, if you're going to work as an employment agency, do not charge. Because most of them, and it's expensive to process papers, I'm already in conversation with financial institutions. I met bankers the other day, I'm meeting more bankers, looking at financial institutions, how they can provide credit facility to these agencies to enable them to operate, so that when they get their money, it's deducted, so this service is carried through, because it is of the interest of us and everybody to be able to do this properly. So on our end, we are saying don't charge, but we're also trying to do what we can to get the banking sector to work with these agencies in a very organized manner, where the government can give even a letter of comfort to the banks to say you can work with this agency. Lastly, on the same point, is also to point out that we'll also be ranking agencies. Their agencies are not the same. There are agencies who are platinum agencies, who have the ability to deal with big contracts of big nature. And there are others who are just starting, who don't have the ability. There are agencies who you can see who can be called today to go to London to sign a deal, and they'll be in the flight tomorrow or in this evening, once they have their visa, to go and sign the deal to get the jobs. There are others, when you tell them to come to Kisumu for a deal, they tell you give us 2-3 days to tafute fare. So we want also to rank them so that when you are looking at them, you can see the ranking of the status of those agencies as to where they are financially and ability-wise and size-wise. And that is why I've put together a compliance section together so that it's strong to go around and vet, so we can be able to give this to the public. I proceed to the next recommendation, Mr. Chairman. The Ministry of Labour and Social Protection, National Employment Authority, to strongly enforce the existing measures and ensure agencies adhere to laid down regulations. The Ministry of Labour has done the following. One, we've set up as together an oversight mechanism and a community feedback mechanism, and we have given a toll-free number of 0800 2222223. That is 0800 with 5 2s and a 3 for migrant workers who are outside the country to report distress issues and cases, and also to report fraudulent activities by recruitment agencies. And to ensure adequate awareness creation of the established mechanism at the community level, 277 resource persons have been trained on the oversight and community feedback mechanism in 5 pilot counties of Nairobi, Mombasa, Kilifi, Nandi, and Busia. And the ministry intends to expand the overnight mechanism and a community feedback mechanism to all the counties. This has enabled the ministry to obtain information on rogue recruitment agencies. I want to encourage anybody, if there's a problem, write to me directly, to my office, and I'll deal with it. If an agency has conned you, please send me information with evidence so that I can also be able to follow it up. It's also pointing out that there's a lot of witch hunting in this industry. There's a lot of infighting, a lot of money. So at times you see stories, you see reports that are actually fake by competitors trying to pull other competitors down. But I want to carry out a very fair system, complain, give me evidence, and I'll deal with it. We'll investigate and we'll take action. Not rumors, but real evidence. The other thing we've done is that we've enhanced self-regulation among employment agencies, and we've asked them to form associations. The same thing that was done in the Matatu sector when we told them all to get into circles. Now we are requiring employment agencies to be member of an association that can also, by themselves, be able to regulate, self-regulation with professional conduct, and we've signed and agreed on what they need to do. We are also, number 3, promoting ethical recruitment. We have been training and so that we can be able to adopt international standards on how recruitment process should be done. And already we've already trained about 18 private employment agencies and 162 private employment agencies, and on how to carry out integrity, recruitment integrity and even there's training that is going on currently, even as we speak in Mombasa right now. And they are required to attend this ethical recruitment, otherwise they will lose their license. So we've done those things. And lastly, the licensing and certification of private employment agencies. In order to streamline the vetting process, the terms of reference and operating procedure for the Interministerial Vetting Committee have been reviewed to ensure that only qualified employment agencies are licensed and that existing recruitment agencies have fulfilled the set out criteria in law and legal notice number 1.
And lastly, we've enhanced monitoring of monitoring of activities of recruitment agencies to ensure the private employment agencies.
Yeah, I think you have to wait because we need it on answer. And the answer is off now.
I was thinking to go backward is that framework and to be conducting SNAP, supposed to have an office operation, so I want to make sure that within a very short time, properly, they are not briefcase, agencies, and fully operating briefcase. I want to finalize by saying the chairman committee. I'm going to clean up this provide jobs for our people, both in our country. The opportunities are great. Right now, we have in excess of 500,000 jobs in our system where people can go and work overseas. But they cannot work when the system is not proper set. I'm making it properly set for both the recruitment agencies, for the government, and also for those who want to go overseas. And also sealing the loopholes that have led to a lot of the problems where the petitioner has brought these issues to the Senate. So I just want to give assurances to this House that within a year, this will be stories of the past. I submit.
Thank you, Waziri.
Thank you, Chair.
So I will allow them. Then you note, then you are going to respond at once. So we start from there, Senator.
Allow me because I want to give quorum to delegated.
Okay.
In the next room, Senator Mans has come to force me to go. Thank you, Waziri, for your response and also the presentation and your commitment that you are going to clean up this industry. My concern is that are there mechanisms for impromptu visits or inspections in those companies? Because some of those companies were briefcase companies where the recruiting agent is walking around. You'll be told today he's at Pan Africa Hotel or he's at High Life in River Road or he's at Royal Court in Mombasa and so on and so forth. So that there are mechanisms to avoid future incidences like the ones that have happened with the first choice companies. Number two, there is also a concern that apart from this conmanship that goes on here, those who are going outside also, they face a myriad of problems. Yeah, they are being recruited here as maybe general laborers, but when they go there, they are now put in camps. They are put in camps, and in that camp, they are taken to work in the morning and coming back in the evening. If on a day they are not going to work, they are not paid. Yet whatever they signed here, they have been signed to go and work and will be paid on a monthly basis. So those are my concerns, and I think we need to address them. Last time when we visited Saudi Arabia with the director of NEA, we did see a number of them. And there have been problems, like right now we have Steve O is awaiting execution in Saudi Arabia. He has been there for the last 14 years. And we tried to raise funds because the family of the victim he is alleged to have killed was demanding about $1 million. To have killed was demanding about $1 million, which translates to about 131 million Kenya shillings. So these problems are there, and it's because of the recruiting agents that many Kenyans end up being in such problems. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Miraj, then Senator Gloria. Oh yes, Gloria.
Chair, thank you, Waziri, for coming. First of all, I wanted to find out if our recommendations in the report are negotiable, because I thought that once a Senate report is out and we approve it and pass it as a committee, it is not for negotiating with any party. On the first point, that is on 5A, it sounds to me that Waziri is negotiating with the committee, and I think that is not in order. I have gone through the recommendations that in this report to the Ministry of Labour. You have actually fulfilled all of them except two. So you have fulfilled E, G, H, I, and you have not fulfilled A, and there's a question mark on L. So, Chair, for me, I still insist, as much as you said that the Board of National Employment Authority doesn't really play a role, then we might as well disband the whole board and not have anyone earn a salary from it. But if you look at the mandate of the board, and I think I want to take you there so that you can correct me if we are wrong. You have stipulated what comprises of the board. So yes, there are several people who cannot be changed. But if you go to E, where you have two youths, one man and one woman, nominated by the National Youth Council, Ministry of Finance, I believe that the purpose of having a diverse board is so that part of these people in this board are able to actively pick certain issues such as these ones, and then through the board ensure that the board acts. So to me, it seems that even these people here, two youths, one man and one woman, whoever they are, they slept on their jobs. That's why we are insisting the board must be reconstituted. Then if you go to H on the board, the chairperson is appointed by the cabinet secretary. That can be changed. The chairperson of the board is not a standard person who's in the system. So why are we not looking into changing those who can be changed? Because those are the people who should red flag and who are supposed to interact with Raia and come back to the board and say, as a board, this is happening, let's act. If you look at the mandate chair of the board, on F, page 2, it says ensuring through the board committee and others as appropriate compliance obligations and functions are effectively discharged. You go further to H, it says ensuring that all significant systems and procedures are in place for the authority to run effectively, efficiently, and meet all legal and contractual requirements. And there is a failure because the legal and contractual requirements, that's the reason the petitioners are here. They had a contract, they were given promises, they paid monies, and they got nothing out of it. And the board has a mandate that they have to ensure that these things work. The board also on J has to ensure that the authority has appropriate corporate governance structures in placing, including standards of ethical behavior and promoting a culture of corporate and social responsibility. So if you ask me, this board has failed, and we are not negotiating on whether the board should be disbanded. The board should be disbanded. Disband the board, and if in the law that certain members cannot change, for instance, Public Service Commission or whoever, fine, disband them, those ones will come back, but the ones who can be changed must be changed. Especially these people who are representing youth. The people sitting here, those are the youth. Why weren't they forefront in alerting the board that we must do something? So those, Chair, I still insist, the board has to be disbanded. And then it has to be reconstituted again. Whether it seems like a lazy affair, it has to be disbanded, watu waende. Alafu wenye wanarudi by law, warudi. The ones who can be reappointed, they have to be reappointed. Then, Chair, my final point is, I have read the recommendations which I think the ministry, thanks to our new Waziri. Waziri, I can see you are really, we probably needed you here earlier. The recommendations of what they're trying to tighten on the regulations and processes that are there are they are commendable. Hopefully it's not just theory. But one thing you have forgotten, Waziri, and I urge you to add is, all these registered companies, and you have provided a list which you have gazetted, the ones that are now, you are saying these ones are legitimate, they can run. All of them, they have to be able to place an insurance policy, or what we can call a safety deposit, for each and every employee that they take out. And they should not push that cost to the employee. Because then it means, if you don't come back from Saudi Arabia, and something happens to you, we can go back to where they are placing the insurance or the safety deposit, and then we say Miraj went to be a house girl, and now something has happened, and we won't be fundraising. We will now be going back to that deposit that the entity, the agent has placed, probably in a fixed deposit or some place where it can earn an interest, and then we can tap into that resource and say, and by virtue of doing this, Waziri, all the fake agents will go. Because if I have to pay, let's say I'm recruiting 1,000 drivers, and I have to pay per driver 40,000 as a sort of safety deposit or whatever for insurance, I can tell you not everyone will be recruiting drivers, because that will be meaning 40,000 times 1,000 drivers to make sure that it is my responsibility. After 2 years, when they come back, as an agent, I can go back and now say, give me back my 40,000 plus the interest or whatever, because now I want to place another person. But that is a safety mechanism that is used in human resource. I don't really know the details, but I'm sure if you engage an HR specialist, they'll be able to tell you, this is what we can do. Waziri, when I before my life in Parliament and in politics, I did not run an agency, but we used to export talent for arts and culture to Europe, Scandinavia and Benelux, Belgium, Netherlands and Luxembourg. When we realized that when they landed, they would disappear and not go for the work and go and seek asylum, we put a measure. One of them looked a bit too strong, where we said, you land, instead of paying you your full 1 week wages, we will take a percentage. On the day you're going back, we pay you the rest. So someone would think, if I'm earning, because at that time they were earning about, I would say $900 US a week, and everything else is catered for. If you're earning $900 US a week, and the agent says, okay, because wewe nimeona unataka kutoroka or whatever, we will pay you a percentage of this, and at the end of your contract, we will deposit the remaining amount. We found that everyone would come back from Europe, because when they would weigh how much they're losing from what they're earning and going to seek asylum and what the asylum cartels were charging them, it became a stopgap measure. So we have to think about, first of all, why our people engaging in crime. Senator Faki has talked about the person Steve, who is allegedly up for trial, and why are they engaging in crime? The stopgap measures there, that's the issue. Then Waziri, you have put 277 resource people, but you have not really told us what these people are doing. This could also be another 277 agents. The one in page 7, to ensure adequate awareness, creation of the established mechanisms at the community level. 277 resource persons have been trained on the oversight and community feedback mechanism in the 5 pilot counties, Nairobi, Mombasa, Kilifi, Nandi, and Busia. I don't know why Eldoret is not here, because they are the ones who need those also. But Waziri, we need to know how much do they earn, because these 277 people can easily now collude with the agents and become now literally human traffickers. And then who oversees them? Because I don't know what we are trying to cure there, but we need to know. And then in the space of oversight, what is the feedback or monitoring and evaluation that they come? Because out of 277, I hope we would have piloted this in Wasingisho, because I'm sure maybe 30 would have come back to report the agencies that these guys are talking about, which are proxies. So we need to know, like, what are they doing? What is their job description? What are they earning? And once the pilot is done, I'm sure your plan is to scale it nationwide so that we can be able to support it and maybe encourage more feedback. Thank you.
Senator Cherogay.
Thank you, Chair. I think, Waziri, I rarely give accolades, but I'm impressed that you have tried to do what the former CS did not do, but at least trying to be at least 20% transparent. So there is still room for improvement. Mine are 2 issues. One is I've seen you have presented, although you didn't go on record, I don't know why, agencies valid with NEA, National Employment Authority Certificate of Registration. I can see you have given us 592 agencies, and in your answer you have indicated that it keeps changing with day to day, because it is updated online. So I don't know whether this list, if it goes out to the public, it means that these are agencies that are valid and Kenyans can use them to apply or to work with them to ensure when they want to travel for a job or scholarship or any other form abroad. I can see there are 592. So can you confirm this part of the bundle, whether it's part of your presentation, so that when the committee quotes as of today, as of now, this is the true picture? That will be my question, number 1. Number 2, this issue of Senator Faki on impromptu. Do we have National Intelligence Service, Waziri, NIS? It is their work to ensure that we don't need to rely to Kimutai Kirui and other activists to come before Senate or any other forum and request that so and so be investigated because they are using proxies. Would it be, what are you going to put in place to ensure that NIS are on top of the game, to ensure that any individual who might have conned Kenyans can be blacklisted and never allowed to use proxies? Number 3, you have indicated there is a toll-free line in your presentation that the 0800-222223 for migrant workers. I'm aware there is crisis. Is it in Beirut or Lebanon? Is this the toll-free that can be used by Kenyans from all over the world, like Australia, Middle East, Europe, Africa? So does it mean this toll-free is applicable to all Kenyans, both migrant or Kenyan in distress, like what is happening in Lebanon? Number 4, Waziri, how many sanctuary camps have been established by government across the globe to assist Kenyans who are in distress, especially in Middle East? And do you have numbers of Kenyans who maybe unfortunately have died while they have been sent to agencies to Middle East and other across? So how many sanctuary camps that have been established to ensure Kenyans can go and find comfort? And tied up with that, in these embassies that we're having challenges, are you working or with the ambassadors, maybe attaching them with labor attaches to ensure there is compliance? And is that labor attaches part of the people? Is this labor attaches part of the people that ensures that when our Kenyans land on those countries are conversant with the local culture, the values, the laws, so that they are very careful? Because if you are coming from Kenya and maybe you travel to a conservative country like Middle East, there is a way expected of behavior in terms even of dressing, values, relationship between men and women. So what can you confirm to us whether these embassies have labor attaches and what is their role? I remember in the last a few years, we were being told ambassadors are not supposed to go and sunbathe somewhere in Florida, but they should look for market opportunities, for Mira, for what? So what are your labor attaches? How do you ensure that they give you feedback, those labor attaches? What is the output? Yeah, I think that's the correct question. What is the output of these labor attaches? Because in the investigations of DPP, and I have privilege of looking at this presentation, his argument was that he's trying to look for Interpol, to try and look for companies, then they can charge the local companies that were allegedly involved in this fraud. So what is the output of this labor attaches, Chairman? And finally, I appreciate that you have been a minister for over a month or so. You have indicated that there are 500,000 jobs. Can you use this forum, Waziri, to enlighten Kenyans now that these agencies have continued to con Kenyans? And I still agree with Senator Oruoba that I think NEA should be disbanded. Waziri, the reason we are here is because of mess by NEA, the religion of duty, which is a criminal offense. In fact, they should be charged in the court of law. Because, Waziri, if this parliament building is broken into and it is supposed to be guided by SIPO, before you look for the robbers, you start with the officer commanding station of parliament that ensured illegal access to this building. So even as we look for people like Judy and the rest, the con men and women of this world, we must start for the oversighting agents. The fact that you have recruited 270-something resource persons to assist in monitoring, what have you done as a minister? Because you are given powers, even through administrative action, to take to task and ask the DG Okuke what NEA did until we are in this mess. Waziri Asusit, I have buried a number of young people in my county. I know families who are broken down because they sold land to finance these fraudsters. I know young people who are treating pressure and diabetes as young as 20 years. I know of young people who are now hopeless, that they are suffering, they are taking drugs for other disorders that have been generated with this. So who should bear the great responsibility? It is the oversighting mechanism, which is National Employment Authority agents. And you should tell us, Waziri, what you have done about NEA. Because NEA is the oversight, and that is why when there is mess in counties, people normally ask us, what has Senate done about oversight? So we must account. Finally, on the issue of government, I have 1 million jobs. What mechanisms have you put in place? Because these young people will be interested. Maybe they would want to. Is there a way government to protect? Is there a way these jobs of 500,000 you're discussing about? I saw you in Germany. I saw you in a number of countries in Europe and Middle East. What mechanisms are government put in place to ensure these young people can access 500,000 jobs that you just disclosed? And is it easy? That's the whole point. Do we need to contribute some money, or what is the process, so that Kenyans, as they work out of this place and others are following online and other forums, they should be able to understand. But I still maintain that NEA must be called to order. If it is possible, somebody must be charged with criminal negligence.
And maybe, Waziri, those jobs Cherargei is talking about, to offer reprieve, because we have now